Now, global geopolitics underwent this tectonic shift, and this has happened as Finland has become the 31st country to join NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Finland's NATO membership has spelled the end of 7 decades of Finland's neutrality so far. It comes in the middle of the ongoing war in Ukraine, and of course it's a major setback to Russia. NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was formed in 1949. The world back then, in 1949, was divided into 2 blocks. The Western Bloc, which was led by the United States, and the Soviet Bloc, which was led by the Soviet Union then. The United States and 11 other countries have formed NATO, and they've done this with the aim to challenge Soviet expansion in Europe. The logic was pretty simple. NATO members agreed to help one another if they came under attack from the Soviets. But Finland was not among NATO's founding members. In fact, a year before NATO's formation, it signed this friendship agreement with the Soviet Union, and they agreed to be a neutral country. And while NATO kept adding these new members after the Soviet Union's collapse in 1991, Finland continued to hold on to its neutrality. So what has really changed for Finland? Well, for a start, Finland shares this long land border with Russia. To be precise, it is 1,340 kilometers of a border. And since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Finland now fears that Russian expansionism may reach its doors anytime. So NATO's membership assures Finland that any Russian misadventure would meet the full might of the Western powers. This move is a huge setback to Russian President Vladimir Putin, no doubt. Remember, it was Ukraine's growing ambitions to join the NATO that irked Putin. Eventually, it led to the war in Ukraine. And while Putin had hoped that the war would kill similar ambitions of other European countries, it now turns out that it has had the exact opposite effect. Finland's NATO membership has doubled Russia's border with the world's biggest security alliance, and that's NATO. And remember, Finland is not alone. Its neighbor Sweden, which has avoided military alliances for more than 200 years, is now also in that queue to join NATO. And while Russia has threatened to retaliate, it seems the more Putin reacts, the more he would encourage Europe's integration with NATO. What this really means for the current geopolitical situation that we have and the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, now that remains to be seen as well, but it's the latest development on the global front, and the empowerment of NATO to that extent, and the Western forces that seem to be getting stronger as far as the NATO, the treaty organization, is concerned. Meanwhile,